Welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And, we keep saying we're not going to do more rant videos.
We gotta stop doing rant videos.
But this is actually pop culture news, and this is very important pop culture news because, in the last week or so, we're seeing some really high-profile creators having their feet held to the fire. Obviously, James Gunn, the director of Guardians of the Galaxy Volumes 1 and 2, was terminated for his tweets, his caustic Twitter presence. And Dan Harmon, the creator of Rick and Morty, or co-creator of Rick and Morty, is actually kind of on the run right now too, where he deleted a lot of tweets because he posted like videos where he's raping babies and all that, not actual babies, but like joke videos, quote unquote joke videos where he's pretending to rape babies.
Why would you even make that as a joke?
Because you're mentally deranged, I guess. And now the latest is our old buddy Rian Johnson from Star Wars The Last Jedi, who has deleted 20,000 of his tweets following the James Gunn firing. Rian Johnson, who has a very caustic relationship with Star Wars fandom.
Not according to this article. This article, he's the poor innocent victim that everybody's just targeting because these guys are so afraid they're not going to be able to suck up to the Star Wars franchise if they don't, say what they're going to say.
Yeah, now this is coming from comicbook.com, and I do apologize for the ads. Oh my God, look at all the ads on comicbook.com. Should have put the ad blocker on.
But look, you can get us unlimited fun season pass to Sesame Place.
We can, and we can also get help with Crohn's disease. So
okay.
That's good.
But I'm like, based on what you've been searching, what have we been searching? Because I have
theme parks.
Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Apparently
what about the tactical traps?
I don't
know.
What
are you searching? Don't get caught with your pants down.
It's a trap.
Yeah, there you go.
So this is from comicbook.com. Geeky kicked this over to me this morning. Felt we had to do a video on this. Okay, so Disney set a dangerous precedent last week by cutting ties with filmmaker James Gunn for offensive messages he posted online prior to his involvement with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. These actions have put many members of Hollywood on the defensive, with The Last Jedi writer-director Rian Johnson deleting all of his posts prior to January 25th of this year. Of course, that would have been the time frame that The Last Jedi was released. Mm-hmm. That would have been the time frame that he was really going on the offensive with a lot of guys who didn't like the movie and girls.
Let's go down here. This is what I want to talk about. This part of the article, which makes me so mad. The release of The Last Jedi resulted in a vocal minority of fans expressing their disdain for the filmmaker's choices. Okay, first of all, this implies that there are only a small group of people who don't like Star Wars. That is bullshit. There is a lot of people who don't like the new Star Wars. The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi just completely was I don't know what that was. And there are a lot of people who don't like it. This kind of minimizes that. Yes, there was a vocal minority of people who were the ones who chased people off of Twitter and all that, which I don't agree with that. But they're kind of blowing it off like, well, only some people hated Star Wars, and they're picking on poor Ryan. No, there were a lot of people who did not like it, and it's evidenced by the sales on toys. It's evidenced by the horrible sale, the Solo, the Solo Star Wars story.
Yeah, I mean that shows the fact that the toys aren't selling. The fact that Solo bombed as hard as it did tells me anyway that the general public is basically just like giving up on Star Wars.
Well, it's either they don't like it or they're apathetic. And
they're apathetic,
is worse.
I think it's actually worse because they're not talking about it anymore.
But they said, extreme reactions wishing harm to come to the filmmaker. Well, maybe he wouldn't act like a dillweed. Despite the hatred thrown at him, he always was selective about who he replied to and often reciprocating the respect shown to him when it came to disagreements, which basically means that if you were mean to him, he was mean to you. Here's the difference. Me being a fan, I'm not representing a company. Him being the director represents the company. And when you're in a position where you represent a company like this, if someone doesn't like your work, you don't get to just call them names and then, reciprocate in kind. You have to remain professional, which is clearly something that these people don't seem to learn.
Yeah, this is, I'm sorry, but yeah, there's one thing Geeky told me. She said, this article on comicbook.com, it's a complete puff piece. It's a complete suck up. They're like, he often took the high road when confirmed with trolls. No, he didn't. Their entire article is about Rian Johnson smacking down Star Wars fans from mainstream media sources. Rian Johnson, his Twitter persona is pretty caustic. I mean, he's nice to you if you like his movie. If you don't like his movie, you will be attacked.
Well, what they're making saying is, well, he only reciprocated kind, so if you attacked him, he'd attack back. Well, show him the example of what you found off of Twitter that wasn't about Star Wars.
And this is one of many examples.
This is off of Ghostbusters.
Unfortunately, I've watched his behavior. I do follow him on Twitter. I've never thought to save any of the tweets. I just kind of roll my eyes. But here's one, Paul Feig, who did the new Ghostbusters reboot. Somebody said, beat you to the punch, fellow franchise killer. Rian Johnson replies, once upon a time, there was a sad little boy who was afraid of women. Ryan blocked him before he could even finish reading this tweet.
He is rude. You know, and then to say that he only responds in kind, this is what made me so mad. It's like, one, they're belittling the people who don't like Star Wars. They're saying, well, there's only a handful, and they're very vocal, which is a complete flat-out lie. And two, they're basically saying, well, he only got mad if someone was mean to him.
No, this is not true. And the fact that regardless, whether or not you're being, here's the thing, when you work on a high profile project like Star Wars now, James Gunn, the issue with him, as I understand it, is that, I mean, obviously he got fired for tweets he made like 10 years ago. He made some, jokes, but he's also constantly attacking conservatives. Now, I do not consider myself a conservative, but I actually would get kind of offended for these people. I'm like, you follow somebody on Twitter who makes the things you love, who makes the movies that you love, and you want to hear more about, the films. You want to hear more about the industry. You want to hear more. You do not want to constantly have your political affiliation or belief system attacked again and again and again. So, I mean, I can understand where people were...
Yeah, the flip side is it's his own personal social media, so people he can say what he wants to say. But
no.
You can't. No. When you're in a position of, like these people are, and you're in a higher position representing a company, representing an IP, representing a franchise, you don't get to go do that. That's for your own personal friends and family only accounts.
Yeah, and this is, what people understand. Like any other business, and we talked about this before with comic book people, and I can tell you there's so many people working at Marvel Comics are in violation of Disney's social media policies. When you work for a company like Disney, when you work for them, you pretty much give up your personal life on social media.
Unless it's a private account for you and your family that no one else can see.
Because Disney, they do not want the public black eye of you saying something stupid.
No business wants that.
No, and there are some companies even worse than that. Some companies, like, you can't say anything on social media unless you run it through their PR people to make sure it's not going to come back and bite you in the butt.
Even normal people, when you go to a job interview, they can look up your social media and see what you're saying online before they even hire you.
Well, what was it? The one case you said that if you, Geeky being a teacher, if you are caught, with a beer in your hand or something on Facebook, can't they call that into question? Or
it depends. I mean, I know they said they do tell you're representing the school at all times, so they don't want you, going out like doing things that you shouldn't be doing and posting pictures of it. But I don't know if they'll fire you. I mean, I never heard an extreme case around here, but I do know that if they find things that are like, against, policy, against the things you had background checks on or whatever, they can fire you. But when you're working for a company like Marvel, like Disney, like any of these major corporations, gaming companies, whatever, you're representing that company at all times, especially if you're high profile. And the problem here is Rian Johnson was representing these places, and he thought he was in a position where he could say whatever he wanted and whenever he wanted, and he did multiple times, and now he's deleting it all.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see a lot of Hollywood types who have had a combative, caustic relationship with fandoms, purging their Twitter accounts because, I think I really, it almost feels like somebody at Disney just like woke up to the fact that these people are costing them money.
Yeah.
Rian Johnson, I mean, I'm not going to put all the blame on him per se. I mean, there are a lot of other issues with Star Wars, but The Last Jedi, we hated it. We both hated it. A lot of people hated the movie. It was,
and there were a vocal minority who were
above and beyond in their hate. Yeah.
And we don't condone that. But
No.
to dismiss what happens is they keep dismissing everyone as this vocal minority, and that's not the case, as evidenced by the sales.
Right, because you can't. I'm sorry, all the boycotts in the world. Yeah, you're not going to account for a $100 million shortage of your projected weekend box office take just based on some Star Wars superfans boycotting. I do think the boycott for Solo did play into it, but really showed me that the general public really didn't care.
We asked people from the general public, and they just said, "I don't care anymore." After the last one,
Yeah,
I don't care. I don't care anymore after the last one. That's what they said. It wasn't that they hated it, and apathy's worse because apathy means they don't care about you at all. If they, at least if they,
that means you're
against
forgotten.
it,
You are forgotten.
right? At least if you're
People
against
moved on.
something, you're for or against, and you're very vocal about it. That shows you have passion for it, and you still can be won back. But if you're like, I don't care anymore, it's going to be a lot harder to get you back than somebody who does care. They just want to see some changes. And if they had just come back and handled it professionally and been like, look, I see you don't like this. I see there's a lot of you don't like this. I'm sorry you don't like that. I can't please everybody, which is a fair, thing to say. But we're going to take what you're saying into consideration. Moving forward to the next movie, we'll try to maybe, take some of these thoughts into consideration, which is what he did for Thor with Ragnarok.
Yeah, they actually, listen, I mean, the MCU, for the most part, Marvel Studios tends to take feedback and listen to it. Marvel Comics does not.
I'm sorry, that picture though, that picture always amused me. He's just like, those two guys are just like, oh God, help us. Let's look at their face, look at their eyes. They're like,
I know.
Oh,
John
God.
Boyega wants to be someplace else.
It's like, oh, it hurts. It's just hilarious. But go ahead, what were you saying?
No, I was just saying, I think somebody at Disney woke up to the fact that people like Rian Johnson are costing them money. Rian Johnson, his social media presence has done more damage to Star Wars than The Last Jedi itself. Last Jedi was a polarizing film, but Rian Johnson constantly attacking fans to the point where they're generating headlines based on him.
Not everybody's called man babies. No matter if you're a guy or a girl and you hate something, you're automatically a man baby. I like to see what he'd say to me because that tweet about Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Is men so afraid of women. Well, I'm a woman. So what's your answer to me? Once upon a time, was a sad little girl who's afraid of women, but I am a woman. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, I don't count. You talk about being marginalized. Try being a woman who's against this stuff because we don't have a voice at all.
Yeah,
I'm trying to change that.
Oh, I see. I think he actually did tweet at. Rian Johnson. I misunderstood that, but regardless, it's like and I'm not saying that people have to just take the abuse, but unfortunately, when you're trying to sell something to someone, there are a whole bunch of people that are watching the exchange. It's not just you having a private exchange with somebody that's difficult on social media. It's when you're a high-profile director, a high-profile creator, like the entire world is watching. They might not be saying anything in your Twitter timeline, but they're watching, they're taking notes, they're starting entire YouTube channels dedicated to your shitty behavior.
Right.
And it's a matter of time until, and I'm actually surprised, knowing Disney, that it's taken them this long.
I'm surprised they
step in.
fired James Gunn before they got rid of Rian Johnson.
Yeah,
That's
that
what I'm
surprises
surprised
me.
about.
I mean, James Gunn, that's really surprising. I mean, I personally don't agree with everything he tweets. I do love the Guardians of the Galaxy.
I do love his movies.
Yeah, I know.
will give him
So
that.
He's
much better than Rian Johnson.
Yeah.
But that doesn't excuse it. Now, on the flip side of this, people are like, well, it's not fair. Disney has a double standard. No, they don't. Because they fired Roseanne over saying something crappy. And she said one thing that was crappy, and they fired her. It just stands to reason that if you do crappy things, you're going to get fired. I think that's just fair. And I don't watch Roseanne. I don't like Roseanne. But I have to agree that when she's making comments that are completely, bad comments, if they're going to fire her, they should fire other people. If they're but the flip side of that was on The View, they've made comments that were far worse, and they were allowed to apologize. But Roseanne was fired automatically, and there is a double standard, and I will agree with that. But it sounds like they're trying to,
Yeah, this irritates me though. Okay, of course it's coming from Vox. This is a deep diving alt-right crusade because obviously, anybody on the left who gets terminated for saying shitty things on social media, it's got to be the alt-right Nazis. It can't just be because they violated social media policies.
Maybe it's because they're doing things like baby raping videos and making pedophile comments. Granted, they were years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think it's ridiculous from 10 years ago. People do change. What you thought 10 years ago might not be what you thought now. I mean, and maybe with Rian Johnson, we can all only hope that him deleting those comments, that maybe in the going forward, he will behave in a better manner.
It might be. I mean, that might be the case. They actually mentioned that. They actually mentioned that on comicbook.com. They talk about Pablo Hidalgo, who I follow on Star Wars. I've actually interacted with him a couple of times. I follow him on Twitter. I've interacted with him a couple of times. He's always been polite. He's never been caustic. I think all the negative feelings toward the Last Jedi might be bringing out the worst in people because they're on the defensive, because you're basically attacking their livelihood. At this point,
Right.
being like, you people suck. You were great last year, but this year we freaking hate you.
But the thing is, the way you respond to it is going to either make it better for you or worse for you. And the way Rian Johnson responded often was what made it worse for himself.
Yeah, that I agree. Pablo Hidalgo, at least in my interactions, he's always been pretty cool. So here, comicbook.com says Pablo Hidalgo, member of the Lucasfilm Story Group, is another individual connected with Star Wars who regularly, but they always drag him into it. Connected with Star Wars who regularly interacts with fans on social media, despite some of those fans, in quotes, setting their sights on insulting the saga.
Oh, you're only a quote unquote fan if you're a quote unquote fan if you don't agree.
But
if you're a fan, then you don't get quotes.
Hidalgo often purges all of his tweets, so it's possible that Johnson merely wanted a fresh start on social media.
I doubt it.
Yeah, I think he's afraid. But I mean, honestly, if Rian Johnson going forward was just like, I will just say what I need to say and no more, and not personally, attack people, even if I'm being attacked. I know it seems like a one-way thing, but when you're a high-profile figure like that, and I think Rian Johnson, he's not used to being in the spotlight like this. He always worked on indie films.
Yeah, well, now it's Mr. Big Man, Little Big Man syndrome.
Pretty much.
Little Big Man. I have a voice now, and I'm going to use it. But, I understand if you want to use your voice for causes you believe in. However, when you're a high-profile person, and it's something like, they always tell you, 2 things you should stay away from if you're someone that's a high-profile person is religion and politics.
Yeah.
When you're out in the public. You can have your opinions and stuff in private, but you should stay away from those in the public because they're so polarizing and potentially dangerous to your career, to you insult fans, and so on. They always tell you to stay away from those 2 things, and apparently these people did not get the memo. But anyway, what were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, you talk about how they're trying to paint it as a vocal minority, how they're trying to paint the Star Wars fans, quote unquote. There's an entire article that popped up on the LA Times over the weekend talking about how basically real Star Wars fans will love anything Star Wars,
right,
or they're not real fans, and they're this is one-sided, biased article, and here again this is supposedly journalism. And this is stating it as if it's fact. The most vocal of the contingent of, quote unquote fans, not fans, seem to be males, and some fans, like Michelle Waxman, a member of the Sunrider base of the Rebel Legion, see that as part of the problem.
So they went and found a woman
right, who's dressing as Admiral Holdo. They went and found her and asked her opinion. I think a little bit of the toxic fan base is there. Now, here's the thing. Right, this is in brackets. That means she didn't actually say that. That is what the journalist, and I'm using that in quotes, inserting the toxic fan base. She didn't actually call them the toxic fan. She could have said, I think, a little bit of it. And the writer, I'm not even going to use journalist because this is a hit piece. This is not journalism. I think a little bit of the in brackets the toxic fan base is there because change is difficult, and because it's been male leads in the past. Male story arcs.
Because, Leia wasn't there at all.
Right. With a female protagonist that's ascending in a big way, that's a little different. I think for some, it's a tough pill to swallow. I think it's an evolution in the right direction because there's so many female fans.
Oh, wait, but you're allowed to be a female. Okay, so let's clarify this for women who don't like Star Wars. You're allowed to be a female fan if you agree with the new Star Wars. If you do not agree with the new Star Wars, it's a vocal male minority. So the only way you count... is if you're female and you like it. If you're female and you don't like something, you are dismissed completely.
Yeah, well, here's this cosplayer goes on, Michelle Waxman. I think there's a small contingent of guys that are the naysayers. I think they're getting a lot of weight out there editorially. They just seem to be getting a lot of print. The male fan base is kind of saturated. No,
I'm saying is print about, because most of the media
Star Wars.
is the friendly media. And how you get, if you want in for access, you have to stay friendly to what they want.
The real ugly stuff that has been online is a very, very small minority.
Well, I agree with the real ugly stuff. I agree with that.
Now, this is Leslie Camarino, who... I thought that was okay. I thought that was her dressing as
no, that's Rose. The same lady that was above.
There are critics out there and true fan base, but not that much hate. Actually, I have to disagree with that. I mean, it's a very polarizing movie. I think it split the fandom down the middle.
At least.
But the people who are in favor of The Last Jedi and
they're the real fans.
They're the ones who are actually in control of the media. So they're spinning it like, well, it's just a very small minority.
Yeah, I don't know what press they're getting, but they're saying they're getting press because the only press I see is negative press against them. And I do agree that the vocal minority that are the really, really, really hard hitting, like we're going to go after you and threaten your family kind of people, are the minority. And you know what? But it's not fair to label everyone based on that. Or it's not fair to just dismiss everybody who doesn't like Star Wars because you're not that, those radical people. If you don't like Star Wars, you're one of those radical people. That's bullcrap. It's complete bullcrap.
Yeah, so this is going to be really interesting to see. I think, wrapping this up, that we're going to see more... and I don't think this is an alt-right thing. I think this is business. Hollywood waking up to the fact that you can't just say whatever you want to in public without there being consequences. And you look at Roseanne was terminated. I think rightly so. I think Roseanne said some really crappy things.
But I also think if you're going to terminate one person for it, then people on the View should be terminated.
Right.
I lean left, and I'm saying this.
Yeah, I think there needs to be a policy across the board that if you work for our company and you say horrible things online, then there will be some repercussion for that. You want to work for us, you want to work for Disney, the most powerful entertainment company out there, and even more so when they buy Fox, then you will keep your mouth shut while you're working for us. Now, if you're not, if you worked for us 20 years ago, whatever, we don't care. That's where the James Gunn thing is kind of iffy because he wasn't really working for Disney when he made the comments, but just, do you want somebody who makes movies of raping babies associated with the brand? Now that's not Disney, but I'm just saying, like, I would be kind of I'm all for free speech, but I gotta tell you, I'd be kind of uncomfortable knowing that I had somebody on staff who thinks it's funny to rape babies, make videos about raping babies. I'd be like, I would question their mental
anybody.
Stability.
I think anybody going forward, if you said some things you shouldn't have said that were crappy, you probably want to reconsider what you said. But they always tell you. I don't know. It's been a recent thing that this does not apply, but they always said two things to stay away from if you are somebody in like these positions: is religion and politics. Stay away from that. And you can't swing a dead cat without hitting political posts anymore. It's like, it's so ridiculous. It's like, everything has to be agenda driven. Everything has to be political on both sides. And it's like, can't we just I'm so tired of going on Twitter and it's all either man baby posts. Actually, most of Twitter is man baby posts, or some agenda driven post or political post. And I go onto the Facebook and a lot of my family are Republican. So it's the same thing there too. So It's just like, I just want to go on the internet and I wanted to, look at funny dog videos and, tweet something cool, and you can't, it's just so much.
Not anymore.
Hate anymore.
Yeah, I love this. Hollywood Reporter's like, firing James Gunn, Disney hurts all of Hollywood. No, I think Disney scared all of Hollywood. And now, again, I need to look into this a little more, but I don't necessarily agree with firing somebody for saying something stupid 10 years ago, because everybody makes stupid mistakes.
It's like Paula Deen. She made a comment. It was like decades prior, and it was a hearsay comment because somebody else said that she said it. She said that she admitted that she said it. So she did admit to it. But that was years ago. It was a different time, and then she ended up getting all kinds of trouble, lost endorsements and stuff because something she said 30 years ago, but she admits was something she shouldn't have said.
Yeah.
But back then, it was completely different. It's just like the whole thing's just stupid.
Yeah. Well, Gunn himself said many people who have, this is what he said on Twitter after he was terminated. Many people who followed my career know when I started, I viewed myself as a provocateur.
Which is what Rian Johnson says he is.
Right, making movies and telling jokes that were outrageous and taboo. As I have discussed publicly many times, as I've developed as a person, so is my work in humor. Yeah, I think in this case, holding somebody accountable for something they said 10 or 20 years ago is kind of ridiculous. In Rian Johnson's case, he's been fighting with the fans as of last month. Like, he's constantly gaining headlines for smacking down Star Wars fans, which is not good for business.
And let's wrap this up here in a minute. But to be fair, like 10 years ago, nobody's the same person they were 10 years ago. Even the way everything is today in the world, the way social media is today, it wasn't the same as it was 2 years ago. let alone 10 years ago. So back then, it might have been acceptable to say something that's not acceptable now. And I think, like, I know when I was in high school, you see people in high school who were like complete jerks to you. And you see them now on social media and they're nice to you. I've even had people apologize to me for the way they behaved in the past. Because we're not the same people we were then. You were young and stupid and you did some stuff that was, for the time made sense. This is one of those things.
Yeah. And I guess the thing is, will Hollywood kind of grow up at this point?
I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping the positive outcome is.
Yeah, I'm hoping that people who are in positions of power like this realize they can't just say whatever the hell they want to say without there being repercussions. Now, again, I'm not for censorship, but if you're trying to sell a product and you're constantly attacking fans, for their beliefs or their gender, or whatever the deal is, you've got a chip on your shoulder that day. There are consequences.
Right. That's why a lot of people have private accounts for friends and family, and then they have public accounts. And if you're a person that you're getting slam with fans because they don't, and I'm gonna say fans in general, because someone doesn't like what your work, that does not make them a non-fan of the property because they don't like your particular take on it. If you're being slammed with fans at all times, don't read the comments. If it's upsetting you, don't read them. Don't reply to them. Just pop on to post something when you want to promote it. And then the rest of your interactions do on a private account with your friends and family. Yeah,
you want to vent to your friends and family. Don't vent to the public because I think anymore with social media, and maybe people are starting to realize like everything you say can and will be used against you at some point by somebody who doesn't like you. So just be very careful what you tweet. And realize that just because you delete it, just because you delete it doesn't mean it's gone. Once it's out there, there are people, especially if you're a high-profile public figure, they're out there screen capturing every damn thing you say.
Oh, you go onto YouTube. There's all kinds of videos on nasty
there's a
tweets.
record of everything Rian Johnson.
So he can delete them; they're still there.
Yeah, I mean, thousands and thousands of videos of dumb things Rian Johnson has said. So, So that's that. So subscribe to Clownfish TV for more pop culture news and gaming videos, art videos. We're going to try to stay away from the ranting, but never happens. It never happens.
We actually have a list of things we want to do, and we keep getting. We're going to do that today. We're going to do that today. And some other stupidity pops up online, and we're like, oh, damn it. Yeah. We have to go do that. So we have to do some other things.
So, but this will be interesting to watch Rian Johnson. I actually think that I would be very surprised if he gets that new Star Wars trilogy, I think.
I don't know.
I think there's been a lot of damage done. I think Disney's going to have to reevaluate Star Wars going forward. Hearing some different things about Episode 9. Episode 9 basically is the make or break moment, I think, for the franchise.
And I think, that wasn't the rumor that they were bringing...
I heard a rumor they were talking about bringing George Lucas back in. I got to look into that. I don't know if it's true, but they're like struggling and they're like, let's bring George back in for Episode 9. I'm like, what?
Oh, and going forward as a fan of something, because I'm tired of people that if you don't agree with it, you're no longer a fan. You're a fan. You get the quotes around the word fan. Something to consider too. I understand you're mad. We're mad too. But going after people and threatening and doing all that's doing is, getting us all labeled as, a problem. I'm not saying if you want to say it, whatever. But I'm just saying, it might not be working the way you think it's working. What did work was boycotting things and talking with your wallet. That actually, that actually does more than, calling people names and threatening to kill them.
Because I think there's a disconnect in Hollywood. I think Hollywood, there is a sense of entitlement. I think Hollywood believes...
imagine that. Hollywood is entitled.
Hollywood believes that whatever they put out there...
You're going to love.
That if you need to eat it up or you're not a real fan. You're basically just a bank account, for a lot of these people.
You're their
ATM, and they have to realize now, especially with there being unlimited entertainment choices with, even platforms like YouTube, with streaming services, whatever, that Hollywood is going to have to work a little harder to get your money. And having loose cannons out there saying stupid things is not a good business practice.
Bullying Kelly Marie Tran off of the internet was probably not smart either. I mean, her character was kind of crap. I get that, but she's an actress. She's just doing her job. That'd be like going to McDonald's, and because you hate their new sandwich, you go after their employee and harass that employee till they quit. They were a good person. It's not their fault the character sucked. It's not their fault the sandwich sucked. So I mean, you know, I get why you're mad. I totally get it. But
well, I mean, look at speaking of McDonald's, look at the Arch Deluxe. You know,
well,
it didn't sell. They spent a bunch of money on it. They tried to force people to like the Arch Deluxe. They hated the Arch Deluxe. It cost McDonald's a lot of money. They never brought the Arch Deluxe back. But yet people love the McRib, and they only bring it back once a year.
Okay, well okay.
I don't understand that.
If you know, but like someone going in, I don't like the Arch Deluxe, so I'm gonna go, you know, knock
I'm
napkins
gonna punch. I'm gonna punch
this woman that's sitting here, you know, because I don't like, you know, because she made that Arch Deluxe, and I don't like that Arch Deluxe, and then she's just following orders. You know, that's the kind of thing. And I think going after specific actors, unless the actor was out there being a total ass first, there's no reason to go after them. But you know, when and if you're in a position like these, don't attack fans. Don't just go, you know, compartmentalize them as, oh, these like my work, so they're actual fans. These people don't, so they're not really fans.
Yeah, that's something that a man baby does.
Yeah, that's something a man baby does. That's called projection, people.
Yeah, when you oversimplify and you know that is man baby.
I still love that picture. Look at them. They look like they're in pain. Look at them. They're like, this hurts. This hurts. They're not even looking at the same thing, are they?
I don't know. They look,
John
Boyega especially looks incredibly
in pain.
Anyway. They're working on The Last Jedi, that's why. So that's, we're going to wrap this up. Subscribe to the channel if you want more content. Ring the bell for notifications. We do live streams from time to time. We don't really announce them because we never know when we're going to go live. So we just kind of do it.
It depends what ticks me off that day.
Yeah, so, okay, guys, that is it for now. Goodbye.
Bye.